A gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Trone.
Thanks very much for this time and your efforts here together and this really distinguished panel. I'm probably the only business guy in the room that has 12,000 employees and owns a $6 billion business. And I couldn't agree more than what Mr. Womack had to say. Everything he said, I agree with 100%. And Mr. Panetta, time to develop policy and not just keep developing politics. I mean, totally on board. We've got to look at the whole piece. I mean, the revenue side, I mean, we've got to have that on the table. The C Corp rate, 32.38. I hadn't heard that stat, but we were at 35% on C Corps. Now we're 21. Effective rate's roughly 12%. The G7's effective rate is 23, yet we're only taxing at 12. We've given C Corps just a complete free ride. It's $2 trillion in 10 years, $200 billion a year that we should have for that child tax credit. That's the kind of folks I think we should be doing, is helping folks that are really struggling, children in poverty. That's where we need to get money to drive, but we've got to drive the revenue side. And I'm going to tell you, as a business person, I don't make a decision on opening a new business, and I opened up, my company did probably 20 new businesses this year, and we'll do 25 next year based on the tax rate. No one's ever asked that question. Never. We base it on our competition. Can we beat them? And can we then create a P&L that pencils out? And that's how we look at it. We don't say 35 or 21. That was Donald Trump. He's a pathetic businessman. He's a fraud. He's a failure. Everybody in the business world has always known that he's a fraud and a failure. And why every developer I've ever met said, never do business with him. He's crazy. He's untrustworthy. Why would we touch him? Obviously, he doesn't even use American banks because no American bank who have plenty of lending capacity would lend to him. That's how he ended up at Deutsche Bank. So bottom line is we got to look at those things, drive the revenue side. But John Larson's proposal, Social Security, I love that proposal. Good step. But we got to look at everything. It can't just be, one side or the other side. So, but I guess I have one quick question. I got 30 seconds. Mr. Yarmouth, I've always loved working with you. What's holding us back from a serious bipartisan discussion? Is it special interest, the PACs, or members afraid of a primary challenger? What is holding us back from talking about policy?
I think it's, as someone who, by the way, is one of your best customers.
Thank you.
And founder and former co-chairman of the Bourbon Caucus. No, I think it's a combination of all those things, Mr. Trone. And, I think by and large, I think Mr. Womack has hit it on the head. The American people just are not savvy enough or knowledgeable enough about budget terminology, budget dimensions. It's easy to say, hey, we've got $33 trillion worth of debt when they have a family has a net worth of maybe $10,000, and not expect them to think that things are out of hand. We just don't know. And I know they're economists, and I'm not an economist, who will say, yeah, this is out of hand, interest rates are going to go here. But if you look at the baby boomers, I'm one of them, we're going to disappear from the scene. How does that change the long-term outlook? I just don't think the American people don't have enough information, and I don't think we have enough information to actually accurately portray where we are. And if we can't do it, then the American people are not going to, they're going to be much more vulnerable to these rhetorical arguments and the exaggerations and so forth that is unfortunately what they get now. And
got to bring a lot more truth back to the matter and not a lot of such rhetoric and hyperbole.
And just let me say real
truth's
quick,
what matters.
I totally agree with you about business people making decisions based on tax rates. I come from a family of business people. My father ran a Fortune 500 company. My brothers have been very successful. They've never made a decision based on the tax rate.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. And given